Okay, so we are back and we are continuing on with our lab. We've been building out a lot of data, a lot of products, and today we are going to be talking about or messing with DFS. So, a lot of you, if you've never played with DFS, what is DFS? So, it's basically a distributed file system, and it's a set of clients and server services that allow an organization to use distributed file shares across different servers to merge the data so that it looks as one, so that your clients can all pretty much access it, right? So if you go to Microsoft and you look up the definition, it might give you a deeper understanding of it. I'm just pushing it off the top of my head. What's actual DFS? But if you had to set up DFS, you would know. So this is why we're here. We're going to do a walkthrough of setting up DFS. So default, you can set up DFS on domain controllers, or you can set it up on member servers that are actually joined to the domain. We're going to be using two member servers that are already connected. So if I take a look and you want to go up top, I have DFS 01 here and DFS 02. I'm going to be working on these two boxes simultaneously because most of the stuff that we have to do, you're doing it on both boxes. Okay, so these computers have already been joined to the domain. They have an IP address and they have been renamed. So I've skipped all that stuff because we've been doing that so many times now that everyone should know how to do that basic stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and try to log in. And we're going to log in as the other user, and I want to log in as so I'm trying to log in as a domain admin. Okay, and same thing over here. So we can log in as domain admin over here as well. All right. All right, so two boxes, both basically the same. I think I gave them about 4 gigs of RAM basic, but it's dynamic, so if it needs more, it will pull. This box that this server that I'm on actually have a lot of RAM, so I'm not really worried about it. I think I have over 256 gigs on this server itself, and I haven't even fired up the other servers yet that we can play with, so we will be doing good. Okay, so I do have a print policy that was written, but I think I turned off the printer server. Yeah, I did. So that server is off, so it might be trying to write that policy to the server, but just because I'm not using the server, I just turned them off. Doesn't make sense. Save RAM, even though we're not hurting on it, but I don't need to print anything at this time. Neither will we print anything later. So, yep. So right now we'll be waiting for these to log in. So let me pause these until these machines are actually ready. Oh well. Thank you, DFS 1. I guess you mean business. So I guess box 1 is ready. And we're waiting for number 2. All right, so server manager is being fired up. I'll give it a few. And it seems that box 2 is coming on board as well. All right, so on both boxes, we'll be doing basically the same exact setup. So since this one is ready, let's go over here and we're going to do add roles and features. We're going to go to next, verify all of this is good. We've done this before many times. Next, and then over here underneath roles. So server roles itself, it's very funny because you don't see DFS sitting here, and that's because DFS is a part of the file server role. So you have to go under file and storage services to find it. So if you go under here and you go under file and iSCSI, you will see DFS sitting right here. Okay, so we're going to do namespaces, add all features, and then we're going to do replication as well. So normally you can do these separate, but I want to do them together because we need to do replication across the two servers. Okay, so same thing over here. Then go ahead, add next. As you can see, this is 94 and this is going to be 93. All right, same thing. iSCSI. Oops, no. That's important. We need to add all of those features in there because you want to have the management pieces as well. Okay, next. Right there. So we need to make sure we have all of those services the same right there. Both of those look at 4 and 5. So I'm not missing anything. Install. On your mark, get set, go. I wonder who's going to win. Will it be number 1? Will it be number 2? Well, let's pause. Oh, look at number 2 going. Here comes number 1. This is amazing. This is what happens when you're bored and you're waiting for your boxes to complete. All right, seems like number 1 and number 2 done. So go ahead and click close. Close. Did I click close? Okay, yeah. All right, so now that we are here, we need to go ahead and configure now the DFS setup so that we have everything installed. So install the roles and features, and then now we need to configure the namespaces. All right, so after we have installed the DFS roles and stuff like that, there's one part that I need to show you guys really important. So on both sides, you need to have somewhere that you're going to store the actual drive, the files for the users, right? So it's not recommended to use a C drive to do much. You want to separate stuff. C drive is just for the operating system to work on, right? So I've attached an extra drive. It's only 15 gigs, but just for demonstration purposes. Working in the organization, you would want to attach. You can do multiple or just whatever amount you have. But for this demo, we just did a 15 gig extra drive attached to DFS 01, and we did the same thing for DFS 02. Okay, so what we're going to do now inside of these folders, inside of this drive, you want to go ahead and create now your share drive. So you want to create a share folder that you're going to use. So we're going to call this net share. Okay, so that's going to be the name of the folder that we're going to give out, and then you want to do the same thing to the next side as well. Okay, so both of these servers, right, will have the same setup. Now inside of net share, this is what you want to go ahead and do. You want to go to properties, and this is where you're going to share this folder, right? So it's going to be DFS 01 net share. Okay, and it's the same thing. Go ahead here and you're going to create your share folders. So let's go ahead and share that real quick, right? And the permission piece you can set up later. You can go ahead and add the permission setup how you want it. You can do it here. You can also do it in the DFS side as well. But for now, we're just going to set it up there, right? So once this is created, a good thing to remember, your your net share, whatever name you call this folder, when you go back inside of DFS, you don't want to use the same name for your namespace, okay? Because you're gonna have some confusion with both of them trying to link up. So since this is net share, when you go back on the other side, you want to give it a different name. Now in here, let's go ahead and create organizational folders now. So these are different folders that we're going to use for the different departments. So I'm going to call this one marketing. All right. And let's go to, let's do admin. And let's go ahead and give this one HR. And my favorite department is sales. So these are the three sections or three departments that we're going to be using inside of my share folder. And we're going to do the same thing over here. So let's go ahead and do admin. Marketing. HR. And so now you have all three folders. These are all shared under net share, which is fine, right? And this is where you need to go ahead and start the process. So now that we have that, and this is shared, when we go back to DFS, you want to go ahead, we can start off on DFS 01 because this is going to replicate to the next side, okay? So 01, we're going to start, we're going to call this a new namespace. And here we're going to find the server that is going to be hosted. So it will let you know, said enter the server that will host this namespace. We're going to go ahead and click browse. And if you don't know the server name, you can go ahead and click find now. And then DFS 01 is the actual server that we're going to be using. So DFS 01, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Click OK again. And then we're going to click next. Now, the name of the namespace, now this is the part I was telling you, you don't want to name it the same thing as the share drive or that share folder that you have. So since that was net share, right, I'm just going to call this share. So share is fine. And then we're going to go to here. You can add the settings, right? Which is a good thing because as you can see, the local path to the share folder is storing that it's going to store the DFS share on the C drive. Not a big deal. But here's the thing. Once this stores this on the share drive, when you link or you probably try to connect to this drive for the users, it's going to show the capacity of the share drive. It's going to show the capacity of the C drive on the user's end. So you don't want to have the DFS share stored there. So since we already have the drive right here, this is going to be the public drive. Instead of the C, we're going to put it for the P. So we just need to change this letter. And let's add this to the P drive because we want to store this here. Now, all users are going to have read and write permissions, or you can have them read only. You can check this off to however you want it. I like to do admins have full access, other users will have read only permissions, or you can give them read and write permissions so they can create files and folders inside of there. Okay. And if this looks good, share, that's where it's going to be. P drive, we want to go ahead and click OK. And then this is where you're going to go ahead and click next. This is a domain name based space because we're doing it on my Active Directory. So everything will stay the same. This is going to be the preview of it. So when you go here, it should show you on a box. It should show you the folders that we're working with. If you're doing it in a standalone, this is what it will look like. Well, we're doing domain namespace. So go ahead and click next. And then it's going to be that right there, /share. And we're going to go ahead and click create. And this has been successful. So now we can go ahead and click close. Now we have our namespace linked. Over here in this box, all you have to do now is basically refresh this because this is going to be by itself. You don't have to create a new one, right? You can just add the namespaces, which is already part of it right here. So it shows up right? So just go ahead and click that so that this will show up also. Whatever this one is showing, the next box is going to show as well. Okay, so that is creating the namespace piece of the pie. Now we need to add folders to this namespace. So since we have already created the shares that we needed, right, to connect, you can go ahead and right click and you're going to click new folder, and the name of the folder is going to be basically the target folders that we had. So remember we did a few different folders inside, right? So let's do admin right here. We're going to target that folder and we're going to click browse. So under net share, not the namespace, right? That's the namespace. We're going to go under where we created it. That was the admin folder, so that's the targeted folder, right? We're going to click OK. That matches up to the admin folder, and we're going to click OK. Now repeat the steps, and we're going to do the same thing for the additional folders as well. So this one is going to be called sales. Going to add, browse to the sales, and that's the local folder for sales. Okay. Now we need to do HR, the same thing. I'm gonna browse to it. Make sure you're connecting them to the right folders that you created earlier so that you have a good distribution. Okay, and the last one should be marketing. Okay, marketing, add. There we go. All right, so now we have all of our folders that are linked. And if I refresh, you can see that they're here. Now, if you go over here, same thing. All you have to do is refresh, and you will see the same set of folders created, connected, right? So what we need to do now, at this steps, we have all of our folders mapped out. Okay, so we can create what's called a new replication group to bind these folders together, right? So you have the server over here, the namespace, server that's hosted the namespace, delegation and all that stuff you can look at. So this is where we can create a new replication group. Go ahead and click new, multi-purpose, it's fine. And click next, name the replication group. So this is where you can call this share group. Okay. And the domain that's hosting it is fine. That's what it is. We're going to click next. Now, it's asking you to add the 2 or more servers that will become members of the replication group. So we need to go ahead and add. And we're going to go find them again. Easy way to do this is just go ahead, hold on your shift button, and select the 2 servers. And you're going to click OK. Click OK again. And then this will go through the process and check to make sure that these servers exist, and then they'll add them to the pool. So give this about a few seconds to a minute or so. All right, so the servers have been able to come over, right? So you can add more here. If you had more, right now we're just going to hit next. Full mesh topology, you can read the difference between the two, but we want to have a full mesh topology. That means we want replication from left to right, up and down. We're going to replicate continuously, right? So no changes. We're going to click next. Primary member, so it will show you right here. If the folders exist on multiple servers, they will be authorized during the setup of the replication, yada yada. Just read this information, but right now we're just going to select the primary server is 01 and click next. Now it's going to ask you for the folders to replicate. So it says select the folder in the primary server that you want to replicate to other members of the folder. So this is where you're going to add the local path. So on DFS 01, we're going to add the local path of the folders to replicate. So let's go to browse. And then we're going to go to P, and we're going to go to net share. And right here, remember, we're going to go ahead and click admin. click OK. That is pretty much where we want to replicate. Click OK. Now we're going to go ahead and add another one, all of them. In fact, I probably can just do this from the top hierarchy. So from P, just do net share, click OK, and we're just going to replicate everything inside of net share itself. Right? So P net share right there. Because it's asking me for everything that I want to replicate to the members group. So that is it. The next, and then here on DFS 02. Now this is where I want to edit this one as well. DFS 02. I'm going to enable local path to that folder. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Right? Those are the folders we're trying to share. Click OK. And then click next. So now you can see replication group is created, full topology. We're going to do connections left from 2 to 1, 1 to 2, continuously replicating, and then these are the path to the share style, the share drives on both sides, right? If everything's good, I'm going to go ahead and click create. You get all success. That means our replication group is good, and we're going to click close and then OK. Now, as you can see over here, we should have both sides connecting. Let's go ahead and refresh. And also you see the same thing on the share group. So you should see the same exact thing happening on one side to the next. Okay, now let's go to our public share. Let's go into here. Let's go to admin. Same thing, let's go to public. We're going to go to next share. Let's go to admin, and we're just going to create a new folder. And let's call this tools. Now, on this side, once replication is working and everything is good to go, on this side, on my net share, on the admin, this is supposed to replicate across. So that's what we're looking for, okay? So it normally takes a little bit to replicate, but once you have everything working, you should see that come over real soon. Okay, so we're just gonna give this a few and let the replication sync. All right, guys. So it finally came over. So it took about I'd say 2 or 3 minutes, maybe because it's the first time it's replicated. But as you can see, now that when I created it over here, it actually came through and actually created the same thing over here. So that it was from 01 to 02. So now I'm going to go into 02 and try to create a file and see how long it's going to take to come over on the next side. And this is all I'm just waiting for to see. So the last time it took about a minute or so. So as you can see though, this shows that your replication is moving from one server to the next. And the only thing I had to do really is just create the files. And then I can refresh my share, but I mean, you're just really waiting for the data to actually come over at this point. Schedule, nothing is really, it's still full mesh, so you don't have to worry about it. And the details is showing you everything is still coming in, so you can schedule replication if you wanted to, but this is fine. So everything is still good on this end, right? So basically it's just the bandwidth that comes over. But as you can see though, that we have replication going. We did a replication folder, and now we're just waiting for excuse me. Now we're just waiting for the replication to come over on this end. Alright guys, so we are back, and you can see now that the same test folder that I did over here earlier showed up on this side. So this shows and proves that the DFS is working. It takes a little bit longer than expected to share between the two sides, but that's still fine because you still know the data is still replicating from one end to the next. Okay, so let's go ahead and fire up our test box PC03, and let's go ahead and try to log in with Justin real quick. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to try to map a new, let's disconnect this. Sales is still out because that's our old file share. The NAS is still up from the previous videos. And we're going to go ahead and try to connect to the public drive. So this is PC03. And we're just going to try to get to chief.home.lab/share over here. So let's go to map network drive, and it's going to be right. Click finish. So this is a folder. As you can see, these are the folders that we created for the different departments. So by default, if you wanted to give higher level access to everybody, then you just give them the share just like that, how we did it earlier. But if you wanted to only give admin access, then when you do the share, you do /share/admin, so that the folks that are working in admin, they only can see or will only get into the admin folder. Or you can set specific permissions on all of these boxes, so it doesn't matter if they can see these, right? Unless you work in HR, you will only have access to the HR folder. Now, what I wanted to test, and why did this get so big? I'll blow this up. So what I wanted to test is the DFS on both sides, right? So this is a test folder, and this is a test folder from this side. And I wanted to go back out to admin on both sides. And now we're going to create it from a user standpoint. If we went into admin, it says I don't have permissions to access this because, there you go, I didn't give permission to Justin. So this is where you can set up DFS now for permission on this share, because if you look at it, right, it's inheriting permissions from the folder itself. But when we set it up, we never gave permissions to the users. And this is where I'm saying right here, you can set it up to where unless you have permissions to get in, you will not be able to access this folder. Too easy. Let's fire up our domain controller, and like I always say, always give permissions to groups, not to users. So This is how you would set the permissions properly so that users will only get permissions based on where they are. So this is a group policy. Let's get out of here, and we are going to go to Active Directory real quick. And inside of Active Directory, I have my groups already set: admins, HR, marketing, sales. However, now my users, as you can see, in HR, let's go to admins. So the members, Justin is a member of my admins group, as you can see right there. So I need to give HI admins access to those groups on the box. So let's go back over to where this public share is. We're going to go into here, and the permissions on here, we need to make sure that since it's shared, it is a shared folder. We're going to go to add advanced. Actually, let's check here first. Administrators are the only one that have access, right? So as you can see that. So let's go to advanced sharing. Click that. We're going to go to permissions. Everyone can read, so they can see, but they can't make any changes. So let's go ahead and go to advanced. We're going to go find, and we are going to add the folder HI admins right there, and we're going to give them now read only access for the time being. So no, actually, let's go to full control. Sorry, he already have access. Everyone has access to read, so we're going to give full access to that folder right there. Click apply, click OK, and then click close. Right, so now this folder is only shared out to just the admins. If you go to Active Directory, you verify members. Justin East is a part of this Active Directory folder. So now when we go back to PC03 and we try to get in here, still having issues. So we need to go ahead and do a GP update. And also too, the permissions will be able to replicate from DFS 1 all the way to DFS 02 as well. So you don't have to worry about setting it on the next side as well. So give this time for this to update a little bit. Okay, so the policy seems to have been updated. Let's go ahead. Let's refresh. So I still can't get in. Justin, what's going on with you, buddy? Maybe the permissions haven't replicated as yet. So let's go back over, minimize this. And as you can see, this is set. Let's see what it looks like from the outside. I'm pretty sure that we set permissions. For sharing, everyone has read write, okay. Advanced sharing permissions, everyone has access, okay. So everyone does have access to the outside folder, so that's good. I'm not gonna make any changes to that, okay. Let's go back in here and let's go into admin. And let's check again the permission security. So let's go ahead and add. We need to add HR here as well. HR admins. Click this, okay. Give them full control. So they do have access to this box. Got full permissions over here. And sometimes the permissions take a little bit longer, so I'm going to do a GP update on this box and also on the DC. And most likely, sometimes here, this is where you might tell the user to log off and log back on, just because sometimes the permissions can act up. So both of my file shares and my DC, I just did a GP update on them. And let's go to find PC03. Oh, I didn't know what happened. It's turned off. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do another GP update over here. Okay, there you go. So the permissions, the update just took a little bit to come across. You just gotta run the GP update on your boxes. But as you can see now, Justin has access to get into this folder. Still won't have access to HR because we didn't give him permissions. But all you would have to do is just go back and add permissions to the group, add the users to the group, and then he should be able to get access to make whatever changes is needed. So just wanted to wait for it. So this is what I wanted to go back and do the main test on for the file share. So this is the tools folder, and now we are over here with Justin. I want you to look over here and see how long it takes before the next file comes over. So the same thing right here. Let's bring this over so you can see the test is over there, test is over there in real time. Now we wanted to see how long does it really take to create a folder. So if we did a folder, look, you see new folder shows up and new folder shows up. So that means in real time, this is what the users are seeing on the server backend. You'll see the two folders being created. That's a direct replication of what's happening out in the force. So let's call this Justin Files, and as soon as I hit enter, it should change on both sides. There you go. So that proves that your DFS is working perfectly. The users only see the front end, which they don't know where the data has been saved, but by default, if you have DFS working properly, your replication is going from server 1 to server 2, server 2 to server 1, and it's been shared out properly to the force. And that is a good replication of DFS and DFS replication combined. Now, the last thing I wanted to show is you should by now know how to map your network drive with a GPO. So we don't need to go over that because we did it in the previous steps with the NAS, right? But if you forgot, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this right there. And what I want to do now is on Justin's PC, let's go back to the DC. And we're going to go back to group policy management. And we're going to create a new group policy. And this is going to be the public shared drive. Okay, and we're going to link. We're going to go ahead and make sure that the public is linked here. So my public is linked to our group policy. Salary link, where are you? There you go. And for it, it's linked to my entire domain. So everybody in the domain now will have access to open up your DFS file share. It doesn't matter because you're controlling the permissions explicitly. So that means everyone will be able to see, but until they call you and say, hey, this person is access to HR, you assign the groups to those folders like how we did with Justin. And then all you have to do is move those users into the groups on Active Directory respectively. And then DFS will take care of the file share for you. And then Active Directory will take care of the membership for you. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and edit this group policy. This is also going to be one of those drive maps that we use. So it's going to be a new map drive, right? It's going to be one that we create. And the location, like I said, we can do, and we're going to call this, so if we minimize over here, remember this is Chief Home Lab right there. So this is the exact name we need to put over there. So chief.home.lab, and then this is going to be share, right? So just like that. We're going to reconnect, and then this is now how we're going to call this the public share. So when the users get disconnected to their PC, it's going to be the public share, and you have it linked to the P drive. Right, so this is what they will see. Now you can go to comment, do item level targeting if you wanted to do the run, and then you want to target the entire domain, organizational units, security groups, and so forth. But since this is going to the entire domain, we don't really have to go. So we can just do this. The users in the domain, this right here. If you wanted to really get deep into it, as long as the users log into the domain, then it's going to apply to them. Okay. Uh-oh. Spelling. So CHIEF. And sometimes if you do this and it doesn't work, you just need to go back and check. Because see, I just found an error. I kind of put the E before I. And it's actually I before E. So just little things you might want to check if your stuff is not working properly. So there you go. This is created. This is mapped, right? And then all you have to do now is you can close this out. This is good. This is enforced on our. Click OK. Now on our box itself, we're just going to run a GP update on the DC. And like I said, the permissions you're going to set now on the DFS file share itself. We're going to go back to Justin PC, and we're just going to go ahead and run an update on Justin PC for the public drive to show up. Sometimes you might need to restart. Right, but as you can see, Justin Files is working, and we're just waiting right now for the public share to show up as a P drive. And if it doesn't show up now, we can wait, do a couple more restarts, and it should populate. So let's watch this GPU update go through real quick. There we go. That is amazing. So the group policy is good to go. See, it's completed. You see the P drive now shows up. The size of the P drive, like I showed you, and like I said earlier before, is going to take effect based on the public drive that we had over here. The size is 14.9. It's going to show you 14.9. If you put, like we're telling you, if you had put the namespace on the C drive, it would only show up as 18.4 gig, and it would show that it's going to kind of show incorrectly because it's not the right size of the actual namespace. And that's one key important thing that you should remember when you're doing this. Okay, now we went over the GPO, we pushed the GPO, we did the namespace, we did the links and the groups. What else is next? Well, just the permissions. Justin can still go in here. He should still go admin, right? But Justin still can do the HR, which is fine because that's how we want it. And then you can set the permissions for everyone in your organization just the way you want it. Okay, guys, I think this video has been long enough. I know we had a little hiccups here and there, but I apologize. But we got through it. Okay, everything is now working. and you have a fully functional DFS structure with migration, permissions, and sharing happening all at the same time. Life is good, or life is gravy, like how they would say. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. We appreciate it. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you appreciate or like this video. Thank you for your support. We can't really do this without you. And without further ado, I will see you guys later.